Roger, I have never touched a guitar in my life. I want to do the 5 first notes.
The first note is a G, and you play it with this finger, straight down. Got your finger on it, dopey. Ah, bravo, bravo.
My guest and good friend, one of the top performing artists in the world, Roger Waters. Politics.
It's very like the situation in the United States of America now, where you have an incredibly rich country with extreme poverty. That's what's fascinating about this presidential election.
Yes.
Where the choice is graphic.
Religion.
That's my view. It's a personal view because I'm a radical atheist.
Money.
The sewers are clogged with the greed of powerful men.
Today, we turn down the wall. It's all on the table. Santé, mon ami.
Good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
Voilà. À la tienne.
À la tienne, mec. It's good. Roger wanted me to show him how to do a dish with langoustines. I'm going to show you the langoustines.
They look fabulous.
Yeah, they're very beautiful.
Right.
Take it like that, and you try to get all that flesh, and then here you could open it like that, but this is very sharp and pointy, and you will hurt yourself.
Okay.
So what you try to do is to peel the langoustine by moving the 2 first rings here. You see, like 1 ring, 2 rings?
Yeah.
So you right
You
here.
twisted it, didn't you?
And they come by themselves. And then you push here. Here it's very pointy, so you touch here, which is soft, and you pull, and you see, even the intestine stays inside. We don't want to see that, obviously. When I was young, my first job in La Tour d'Argent was to peel langoustines. And they didn't tell me the trick. They wanted to, play with a young kid.
Yeah.
So my hands got completely cut and infected, and the day after, I couldn't move my hands. And I became an expert in peeling langoustines. I learned the hard way. You want to try one?
Sure, why not?
Just pull gently, like that. That's it, we got it. And here, pull, stay on the top, because it will hurt your fingers.
He never played the guitar again.
That's it, you got it.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Roger got the intestine too. So when you grew up, your mom was a good cook?
My mother, bless her, was an appalling cook.
Appalling cook?
Yeah, really, really.
So appalling is a very bad word?
Yeah, it's bad. For instance, we lived in a small house in Cambridge and we had fish every Saturday. The fishman would come down Rock Road with a handcart. We always bought 1 small lemon sole, which we had for Saturday lunch, and she would ask for 7 fish heads. All Saturday afternoon, the fish heads would boil on top of an old coke-burning stove that we had.
To make a soup or to...
No. We doled out 1 a day to the cat.
Oh, she was thinking about the cat.
So every day the cat had a fish head. Go on, there. You know what cats are like.
Yeah, I know what they are. You have 2. I'm going to make a beurre blanc. You need some good wine.
We need to pace ourselves, Eric. It's a long afternoon.
When you grew up, your mom was a teacher?
But she was also a communist.
In England, communist was okay. I mean, to be a communist.
At the end of the 30s, when she joined the Communist Party, it was almost de rigueur amongst anybody with a brain. They could see what was going on in Germany, and they'd also seen what had happened in the general strike in England in 1926. And so she went, as a rather innocent young woman, to teach in a rural part of England. And she suddenly, in the middle of winter, saw children coming to school, walking through the snow in bare feet. She became politicized and galvanized. It's very like the situation in the United States of America now, where you have an incredibly rich country with extreme poverty, even in some of the most developed parts. That's what's fascinating about this presidential election.
Yes.
Where the choice is graphic. So on the one hand, you've got this guy who did pull himself up by his bootstraps and came from humble beginnings, fought his way through the education system and was one of the brightest students they've ever had in the law school at Harvard, and then went into local government and eventually became president of the United States. On the other side, you've got a guy running against him who was born into a privileged family and has spent his life asset stripping, putting people out of work, and who is absolutely committed to making that divide between the very rich and the poor bigger.
It's not sustainable. You end up with a revolution.
One of my friends said to me the other day, you're going to have to wait until the sewers back up and the stink becomes unbearable before people will go, whoa, there's something wrong here. The sewers are clogged with the greed of powerful men. If you're very, very rich, you can buy the country if you're allowed to do that.
Roger is brutally honest, and he speaks from his heart. And whatever he feels like, he's going to tell you.
It's a bit like your Patriot Act over here, where they say, well, 9/11 happened. In consequence, we must enact all these new laws that take away your civil liberties. Your citizens no longer have those rights.
We're still in a democracy. I mean, you and I can still talk about those things.
You are not still in a democracy. You can buy political power now. That is not democratic. Republicans, they're suggesting that in order to register for a vote, you have to have an ID. The places where you can go and get an ID are only open at very small numbers of times, A. And B, to get the ID, you have to produce a birth certificate. It's like imposing a poll tax. And they can't afford it. They're saying to you, fuck you then, you can't vote. Wow. I mean, it's so scary to think that there's even any question of Romney being elected president. You know what he'll do? They'll probably invade Iran. That's what they'll do. Throw away another 5,000, young American lives and hundreds of thousands, possibly millions of Iranians. I've never been to Iraq and I've never been to Iran. There's a big student movement who are against the religious extremists who run the country there.
Yeah, they hijack the religion to get power.
It may well be that they're sincere in their belief that the Quran is more truthful than the New Testament. Personally, I think they're all pretty much nonsense. That's my view. It's a personal view because I'm a radical atheist, so I would naturally have...
You're a radical atheist?
Yes. There is a beauty in the organisation of natural history and physics at which I wonder. I don't find it necessary to say that, oh, well, there must be somebody in the sky who made it all. The idea, for instance, that it was all spewed up by somebody and that he vomited up the solar system on day one and then the cheetahs and the leopards on day two, is no more fantastic than the six-day creationist notion that and on the first day, he made this and that and the other. And then there were these naked people in a garden and a snake that talked to them. And, it's dopey. It's no less dumb than, the leopards and the cheetahs appeared.
Every religion has its own rituals and practices and so on, but it's a very common message about tolerance, about peace, about compassion.
If I was to adhere to a religion, Buddhism would be the thing that I would embrace.
One of the pillars of Buddhism philosophy is to acknowledge that you are going to experience suffering. Being a Buddhist, I do not tolerate injustice, but it's a different way of digesting it and then acting on it. Saying that, the langoustines are cooked, Roger.
Almost everything that I've ever written is about my belief that there is no us or them. We're all in it together. There's no difference between us and the kid in Mississippi who doesn't have enough to eat and is living on food stamps and has no future. Don't get me started.
You started already, Roger.